Hey, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a conversation I got into Twitter the other day with Indigo's Snickerous Rat King. So this thread started off with Indigos was saying that sometimes as a tiny producer, I feel like a kid throwing pebbles into a lake, expecting to see a tsunami, which is a nice metaphor. And then Snickerous replied, "Same here, man. Doesn't seem to be like many ways to be getting big without getting lucky or selling out." And Indigos came back and said, "I like to think there's a way out somewhere. Hopefully, we'll both get there." And then Rat King rather amusingly says, "Seeing as you're both young and talented, I'm old and noisy, and I have a thing called lower expectations." I replied to that because like a tweet isn't. I kind of got it sent a lot of things going on in my mind because a tweet isn't like the best way to bring up all of these things. It's just hard to go into 140 characters or just to keep tweeting on a thread. That's kind of complicated. So I kind of said it doesn't really get any easier. There's just always another level to get to when you care about your craft. That basically, I think, I can see myself doing this like forever. Ever since I was a young lad, now, ever since I think, like, I understood that you could make music with synthesizers and computers, and that you didn't necessarily, you could use samples and stuff. You didn't necessarily need to learn music theory, because that was always a sticking point for me. I could never read music, and back when I was a teenager, there was no internet for me, and there was no like piano rolls that like kind of music theory courses or anything. So I could never get my head around reading music. I always found that very difficult. But when I found out, like, oh, you could use samples, or you didn't really need to have music theory. If you were making dance music, you could just play a few notes as long as it was catchy. Then I kind of realized that that was kind of what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was going to figure out a way to do it. Going back to throwing pebbles into a lake and expecting to see a tsunami. So there's a lot to do with expectations. Sometimes a disconnect between what you expect to get as a response and the kind of enjoyment and that you have doing the music, and you know that your music's good, just maybe you don't have the reach. The good music will create reach for you. Like a good example is Come Trues, where he makes amazing music. I I I don't feel that he has to really work so much on his like social media. And I don't think it's just a case that people already know about him. I think it's a case of that the music is so unique and so different that people talk about it and people love it, and so it's not just a case of reach. I think for me as well, I want to make my music better, and I know if I concentrate on making my music better, it's going to get shared and people are going to talk about it, and that comes back to expectations. And the other thing I thought about was like handling rejection, because handling rejection, sometimes when you put something out there and the response is minimal or like just kind of lackluster, you're kind of like, it feels like, it's sometimes, for me, it feels like rejection. And it's like, it's handling that is important, but also understanding that a lot of time it's not necessarily rejection. It feels like rejection, but it's just, sometimes it's just saturation. Things are so saturated, and there's so many new releases, there's so much information coming at people, so many new links, so many new things to check out. It's like, you kind of don't want to be a bastard and not check everyone out. It's like, it's overwhelming sometimes, and then you also have to structure a life around it, and especially as with something as time consuming as making music, it's very, you have to kind of find a point where you have to balance your time so that you can still have a life and reach out to other artists and other people making music, because I think it's really it's like a shared burden that musicians have and other artists have. It's a shared burden that artists have of trying to get recognition as I just gotta stop that flashing. there's someone who I met at a gig a few years back, like a drum and bass DJ, and I follow him on Facebook, and he often posts memes about how you can put up this. You've spent hours working on this album, right? So you can put up this album, and you put up this album and you get like 2 or 3 likes, and then you post a picture of a kitten, and it's like 500 likes, and it's kind of ironic as well, because total strangers often I love total strangers, because total strangers, that's why I'm making music now. It's there's more traction with total strangers than there are from friends and family. It's almost like if you're promoting a music release, it's like you're garlic and they're a vampire, and they just don't want to go anywhere near you. They're like, or is it the other way around? Maybe I'm the vampire. Uh, but I would say, going back to the original point, like when you feel like a kid throwing pebbles into a lake and expect to see a tsunami. Yeah. There's kind of another point, is this kind of lottery mentality. And there's a lottery mentality sometimes to doing music, and especially from the past. Like I think many of us who are making music now that started back in the 90s and the early 2000s will kind of always remember having an idea about how I've got to get signed to a label, how I've got to get the music out through that, go through a gatekeeper, and it's just not true now. You don't need to have that as leverage. It can be useful, but I just don't think it's true. I just think you have tools like Bandcamp, and you have things like TuneCore, and you have your CD babies. So it's like you can be your own distribution. You don't necessarily need a label. And that comes back to the expecting to see a tsunami from what you're doing. And it's like, you don't really know, but I think it's good to get out of this lottery mentality. You don't really know whether something you do might go viral. And again, this comes down to expectations and what it is that you want to do with your life. Because, like, if this is what you want to do every day, and to make music and to do it, like, unless I have some kind of major life changing event where I'm like, oh, like, I decided I'm going to go and teach Kung Fu now. And, like, I have no martial art experience, but, or something bizarre, like, I don't know, like, something happens, and then I know making music is what I'm going to do until, like, even if I'm, like, sort of in a care home for old people, and I'm like, I'm going to want a laptop there, and hopefully by then there's like devices so I can just hook it up. So if all my limbs stop working, I can still use like eye movements or something as a mouse, kind of click and blink, that kind of thing. So it's not something I'm ever going to stop doing because I enjoy it too much, and I feel outside of enjoyment as well, there's something zen about it, of like building a skill, about caring about the craft, and about improving your skill. And I think we get too obsessed about the outcome sometimes. So you're expecting to see a tsunami. I don't know what the reality of the situation is. It's like, I have this problem too sometimes, expecting to see a certain thing. But I'm quite pessimistic. But that does come into play a lot. I'm always one of my weaknesses is I'm always making other plans, plan Bs and stuff. And some people, I don't know, I read a bit of self-help. Some of it's a bit nuts, but some people say things like, for example, the guy from the drummer from Blink 182, he's all like, I got loads of tattoos, so there's no other way I could get a job. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, for every 10 of you that did that, is like, I don't know, maybe for every 100 of you, there's one Blink 182 drummer that like actually made it through. I'm not trying to like rain on anyone's parade. I'm just like, there's got to be a few people that had the same idea but didn't end up like being able to make a very comfortable living from doing music. And And that's the other thing is what are your expectations? My expectation is just to be able to make a like a I'd be happy with just kind of like a minimal that basically just low wage. When I'm doing music, I don't need all the money to keep me happy. I mean, I do worry about the future and about being able to afford things like food and gas and stuff in the future, like when I'm no longer at an employable age. But I also think about this as like if I keep going now, another 10 or 20 years, it's like I could have that income, and that things like having a pension plan is not going to be an issue if I have that income, and I probably most artists don't think about that, but it's kind of the way I think about it. It's like to mention as well, Indigos is at Indigos42, and Slickerus is at the Slickerus, and he's saying back to Indigos42, same here, man. Doesn't seem to be many ways of getting big without getting lucky or selling out. Again, it's like define big, define selling out, define getting lucky. It's like getting lucky is going back into this lottery mentality. It's like there is an element of chance and that can help you. But if you're looking for like an organic growth, it's like, and the other thing you realize is like all labels started off like you. It's like all labels started off from zero, and then they built something. So they you know, a good example might be Ghostly. They started off as nothing at some point, and they've built up a reach. But don't get disheartened. It's you know, you start from something and then you build it up. Just a little bit about my story is I started. We were lucky enough to have before this was back before the internet. We were lucky to have enough to have a computer, and and then when I went to college, I didn't have money to have a computer until I had a year in industry. So like I had dabbled a bit. I had found some lame ass free software that it was in German, and I just would like I would record stuff with Windows Sound Recorder, and you could play samples back in it. It wasn't a tracker. It was more like a kind of a. It was more like a kind of like a piano roll based environment, kind of like I wouldn't say it was like Fruit Loops. I'd say it was a bit more like it's more like a very early kind of like Cakewalk or something. But you could load samples into it, so you could record samples, put that into it. And then I didn't get a computer until 2000, I think. And then once I got a computer, I started writing every day. And 17 years later, I'm still not making a living from it. I feel like I'm getting there, but I mean, you know, just it doesn't even come to it. You know, it's just you have to just knuckle down and do the work, and you kind of have to be smart about. I mean, I'm not the best person to be giving advice because I'm not making a living from it yet. But you kind of have to be smart about. You have to figure out what it is that your thing is that you're doing, and why you're doing it. It's very important to know why you're doing it, and I think if you get good, people are going to talk about your music, you know, and you're also going to understand is that we're in the kind of long tail of things, and it's like everybody's making music. Now that everybody's making music, I think we have a much more meritocracy, and it's less to do with getting lucky, and it's more to do with getting good. If you can get good and make good music, getting lucky doesn't matter as much. And selling out is another thing, because I just don't, I mean, define selling out. I mean, it's like, I don't think you have to sell out. I think if you look around, you can find examples of people that haven't sold out. And I don't think you have to get big. And I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, but like, no offense, but it's like, you don't really have to get big. You just have to make a living. I think one of the things that really turned me on to Bandcamp was a mate of mine, Neil. He's from Scotland, and I haven't been in touch with him for a while. But if you're watching this, get in touch, Neil. He knew Ogre, and I was like, I was like, oh, I'd heard of Ogre, and I was quizzing him about Ogre, and he was like, oh yeah, do you know what I mean? And he told me stuff about Ogre about his situation, which made me think, oh, this might be something that, you know, if I utilize Bandcamp if I utilize Bandcamp correctly, then that might be something where I can make like a modest living. It's like I'm not looking to get big. I'm not looking to have fucking big stadium gigs. I mean, not that it wouldn't be nice. I mean, it would be gas, like, huge Fatal Friction, Wembley Stadium. But I mean, that's not what I need to be able to make a living from it. So, and also with selling out, define selling out, because this is the other thing that came up for me when I was thinking about these things, and my whole approach is like, if I can get my reach enough, then anything is possible. If I can have enough people connect with my music, then anything is possible. The way I think about it is like, I don't know if you ever watched, I don't usually use Kickstarter. I've hardly spent any time on there. I backed one scheme once that didn't work out, but I've watched nearly a lot of the good ones of iDubbbz's Kickstarter crap, and those are hilarious, and you should definitely watch them if you haven't already. But they also are not just comedy. It's like he also has looked quite deeply into the dynamics of Kickstarter campaigns, and seems to have a grasp on what makes a good one and what doesn't. But what's kind of funny is a lot of the Kickstarter crap campaigns, they're always saying, oh, I know 10,000 or I know $50,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if everybody gives me $1, I'll have the 50,000, and it's just like, if everybody gave $1 and they got like amazing value for that dollar, and that enough people were interested in my music, so that I could have 10,000 people just show up when I put out a release. That's kind of what I want. That's my thinking about it. It's like, is to get that many fans that I can forego having a huge profit margin on each release, but have lots of people buy it. That's my long-term goal, and that's also I want to make a point about, because like when I sell my albums, something I decided to start doing recently was making them €1. I haven't changed the price on the old albums because I don't want people who've already bought them to feel that that I was undercutting them and charging a premium for the privilege of buying it first. So the older albums are staying the same price, but I'm trying to keep I want to keep all my new ones at €1. It's very hard though. I mean, it's really good though, because some people are overpaying for it, and respect to you, people are overpaying for it. Big respect, big love. So. And I respect to everyone that's buying. It's amazing, because like in a day and age when people are so used to free music and Spotify and other things like that, it's really great to see that people still value music as much as they do. And so going back to having my albums as €1, my thinking is, in the long term, if I can get enough reach and traction and have enough people buy those, then that would be my living then. I kind of gone off on a tangent, but I mean, it comes down to, again, Indigo saying, sometimes as a tiny producer, I feel like a kid throwing pebbles into a lake, expecting to see a tsunami. And it's like, define what you want. Define what you want. And know what you want, and know why you're doing it. And these feelings about being overwhelmed and by this lake and not seeing the kind of reaction from the lake, these feelings that you have become irrelevant, because if you know like why you're doing something and what you want and what your expectations are, and you can go out and find ways to do that, then it doesn't, you kind of lose that despair. And again, getting big without getting lucky or selling out. The selling out part, again, define selling out, because effectively is another issue as well. It's a really big thing, which I might make a separate video about. But with selling out, it's like you have to understand a couple of things, and one of those is that selling out for you may be selling out for a different person, and who is judging you at the end of the day. who gives a shit? And why? And also, why would you give a shit if you're if even if you are selling out? And again, I'm going to make probably another video on this. But a quote I love, I'm going to have to paraphrase it, so I'll have to find it. But Pendulum, Rob Swire, has had fans. I get annoyed with him, as you can imagine. He's gone and done stuff like Knife Party. He before Knife Party, the drum and bass that he was doing was getting more musical, for want of a word, and more vocals and stuff he'd done with Deadmau5, and people have accused him of selling out. But it's like, well, dude, selling out is doing like, he's already making money from doing Pendulum. Selling out would be to keep doing what he knows is safe. So that would be like keep making heavy drum and bass and Pendulum tracks, and not going down like a dance route, more of a dance route, more of a kind of like a festival dance kind of sound, which, you know, could have been really risky but paid off. You know, that's kind of, you know, he could have crashed and burned, but he didn't. And so for him, selling out is sticking to what works and doing what you know works. That might be called selling out. So it really depends. Define selling out, what that means. If selling out is how you make your money, what is wrong with selling out? Like, because I mean, you can still sell out, sell a lot of stuff, sell a lot of tickets, sell a lot of merch, sell all your cassettes, sell all your CDs, sell all your vinyls. You've sold out. Why is that such a bad term? So again, I know that's probably like a whole another video, but selling out, depending on how you define it, is not such a bad thing. If you're talking about deliberately catering to a crowd, and are not really doing something which you like, then all you're doing is creating a job. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. And yeah, as Rat King saying, you see, you're both young and talented, and I'm old and noisy, so I have a little thing called lowered expectations. I mean, yeah, I mean, young and talented. Yeah, it's good to be young and talented. Yeah. I'm actually, another point is that I'm actually very I'm actually very jealous. I'm actually jealous of everyone that grew up with the internet connection, you know, because it's just like, anything you want to know, it's there. It's like, you have no idea. You have no idea how difficult it is trying to use a door. I think for me, the first kind of door type thing I used was Reason. And you've no internet connection, and you've no tutorials, and you maybe just have the manual if you're lucky. and you're just like, it's hard. It's hard. Anyway. So, yeah, lowered expectations. Lowered expectations. I think not so much lowered expectations, but a sense of realism to how people are going to react to stuff, and not. I mean, it's good to have high expectations, but as long as you can have high expectations, as long as you're not going to be emotionally devastated when they don't materialize, which has happened to me a ton. Like, it's absolutely emotionally crippling. I remember once I had a vinyl deal that fell through. Oh my God. That was the saddest thing ever. But, you know, as I've said, I'm going to keep doing this till the day I die. Zero fucks given. And Rat King goes on to say, he's just having fun. If other people like it's cool. Music is just a great outlet, you know. And it is a great outlet. But also, when people value it and people are willing to put the money and enough people know about it, it's like, you can make a living doing that. And once you give up your day job to do music, there's always somebody else that can do your day job for you. You know, someone else is going to come in and say, you know, the world will still carry on, and they'll gain more music for it. They'll gain more art for it. And it is about working at it, working hard. And so that's kind of it, really. That's kind of it for this video. And I might make another video about setting out more. And what you were on Ratching saying working hard to make this EP better than what I've done. I think, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing because it is work and it's also play, but it's not like playing video games. It's but you kind of set it's as hard as you make it, and we make it quite hard for ourselves so we can get better, and we get better so I think Phil, it's like so we can have more of a sense of who we are, more of a sense of progress, of growth, and I think that's like essential as a human to have that sense of growth. So as a human, and as a robot, I don't know what robots think, I don't know. So yeah, so that was my little reply because I said I wanted to elaborate on what I thought about Indigo's comments, which sparked it all off, which is sometimes as a tiny music producer, I feel like a kid throwing pebbles into a lake expecting to see a tsunami. And yeah, I get that, but I mean, it's like it's like deal with it and just keep at it and keep throwing those pebbles. And probably don't expect a tsunami because it's more what a better metaphor might be. You're throwing pebbles in a lake and you're seeing the ripples, or maybe you want to go and throw pebbles in a pond. That might be more useful if you went to throw some pebbles in a pond and went to look at the ripples. And as you throw more pebbles in the pond, more ripples build up, and they don't die down straight away. So you just keep throwing more pebbles in, and then maybe when you've got big enough pebbles, go back to the lake, and then throw them in from all sides, and then you get loads of ripples. I don't know if that helps. Maybe it does. Okay, so if you got to the end of this, thanks for watching, and I'll make another video soon. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this video, but if I put it on YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's have a discussion. Like, attack my ideas, tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right. Let's have a discussion. Basically, let's have a discussion about this because I don't know. I'm just riffing here. So yeah. So thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to my riff. And this is the first time making a video like this, so yeah, give me some more encouragement because it was hard to sit down and actually get round to making this video. So thank you for watching.